I've always been an entrepreneur. I started selling fruit salad in my S4 bag. I worked with Unilever for 10 years across different markets. I had a force of 400 employees under me. I can tell you, Herbert, within 2 years, we had over 10,000 agents that we were working with, building a $10 million business. That's a very interesting question. I've come from a meeting right now and somebody has an order to service 1,000 tons of beef and goat meat per month. And that's on a local perspective. But if you look internationally, let's go Africa or even global, the demand for grass-fed animals or meat is immeasurable. But for now, we have over 500 households that we service on a weekly basis.
Weekly basis?
But I am 40 years of age. What I saw in those 3-4 days changed my life forever. Seriously. I enter a room, I hear what business owners are talking about. I see like-minded people my age mates doing big things. Like, this is where I belong. Women that started like me during COVID-19, running multi-million-dollar businesses 4 years down. With simple things. I saw a lady adding value to Irish potatoes. How? Buying from farmers, bring, peel, slice, package, sell to KFC. Multi-million-dollar business. Many times in Uganda or in Africa, businessmen and women start a business and go with the flow. God help us all. Not data, but sentiments. And as a result, you end up overstocking beyond the shopper habits. Now, the difference with fresh produce, like meat, is that you have to have some level of certainty in your forecasting. Your bias or accuracy the gap has to be this small, because between Monday and Friday, things completely change.
Yes.
For us, when we are packing your meat, when you tell us we are 6 people, we know a kilo is enough. When you say we are 2 and you're ordering for a kilo, we will give it to you in half kilos so that you don't take it out, defrost, put it back. We are giving you enough to cook. When you pull it out, cook it, that's it. Yes, because not many people have thought that far.
Of course.
Absolutely. So that's where my headspace is at, using technology, research and development to...
Thank you for coming on the show, Diana. We're very glad to have you here. For those who do not know you, please tell us your name and what you do.
My name is Diana Nabukenya Adeyemi. I am into meat value addition. I'm an agro-processor with a company called Richland Foods, where I am the co-founder and CEO as well. I love agriculture, but most importantly, I'm a foodie. I love food.
You do? Preparing it or eating it?
Both.
Really?
I don't mind farming it, preparing it, eating it. I don't mind. But many people know us as Yonyama. Yonyama is the brand, one of the brands under Richland Foods. And it's a butchery kitchen chain where we do meat value addition. So initially, we were sourcing 100% from our own farm, but we have since moved from primary production to concentrate on secondary production, which is where the value addition is. So we do halal meats, and currently we do kept animals. We don't have any game meat at the moment. We do beef, lamb, goat, local birds, kokonganda. We do broilers, we do off-layers, broilers. We do yellow yolk eggs. These we source directly from our farm. We do fish, wild catch, that's tilapia, and we also farm a little bit of catfish at our own farm. And we process as well. So through Uganda Industrial Research Institute, we've been given an opportunity to come up with minimum viable product that has actually hit the market, gotten UNBS certification, and is selling. So we do sausages, we do bacon, that's the beef version of bacon. We do frankfurters, Viennas, meatloaves, salami, name it. So I love innovation, and because I'm a foodie, I'm constantly looking at what innovation we can put in the food sector. I also lived in Kenya for over 7 years, and I got exposed. I saw what fellow farmers in Kenya do. I've had an opportunity to visit a couple of them that are into meat value addition, and I was really inspired. I was thinking, wow, in terms of primary production, Uganda is way ahead. We have, so many, 70% of the youth in this country are employed in the agriculture sector. But why is it that when it comes to this other side of value addition, not much can be topped off? So that pushed me. I really love being ahead of the game, and I felt like, Uganda, I need to contribute towards Uganda playing a part in this. And yeah, that's how I've ended up here. I am previously from a corporate background. I worked with Unilever for 10 years across different markets. And during that time, I also got exposure in Southeast Asia. I lived in Vietnam for close to a year, Thailand, Indonesia. Yeah, so generally Southeast Asia, which markets are not very different from Uganda or East Africa. So it was quite an eye-opening exposure for me there. I then moved into renewable energy. And I thought, okay, I've done enough of FMCG and distribution. Let me try something else. But I've always wanted to work in industries that are forward-thinking, that are innovative, that, And so I moved into renewable energy for a year, and an opportunity came up for me to join an e-commerce company. It was called Copia. It has since closed. And while there, Ugandans, we love side hustles.
Yes, of course.
So while there, we've always had a farm. It was crop farming at subsistence level. A decent farm, but we were not really doing much to sell. It was, my mom would go pick a truck, come to Kampala, distribute within the family, and that was it. So when I worked in the renewable energy sector, I was exposed to solar irrigation, and I was thinking, wow, all of a sudden, the Luero corridor, lack of water thing disappeared from my head. I was thinking, actually, we can irrigate, we can dig dams, we can, have a farm that is completely 100% solar. So I started, explaining to my family what I do and what it can do
for the farm.
And so when I joined the Copia, the e-commerce farm, we started, myself, my husband, and my brother started putting a bit of money inside that, the farm side, while I was doing the
corporate job,
the GM role at Copia.
Okay.
That also exposed me because Copia was about bringing goods and services to the last mile. We were the Amazon for villages in East Africa, if I may put it like that. Because these guys don't have access to smartphones, internet, so we had crafted a way of using feature phones to reach them.
Really?
I can tell you, Herbert, within 2 years, we had over 10,000 agents that we were working with. Yeah. I had a force of 400 employees under me.
Wow.
That shows you the need there was, because we could take all the way from everyday use product like toothpaste or soap,
yeah.
Vaseline and the likes, all the way to construction material, iron sheets, to farm inputs, fertilizers, hose, and we would bring them to the comfort of their homes or neighborhoods at no transport cost. So within no time, this thing blew up. Of course, unfortunately, and I won't go into the detail of that, the funding became an issue and we had to close in 2023. Having said that, while I was getting exposed to the villages, I was getting exposed to farmers, to how Ugandans at the bottom of the pyramid live. And I quickly realized how there's a disconnect between the market, which is predominantly in Kampala and urban areas, and the local farmer down there. So I started in my small way during that time, sensitizing the farmers around our farm to say, look, come and buy this from us, take it, grow it, we will take it and sell it for you. Remember, I had said that we had also kind of modernized our farm.
With the renewable energy stuff.
With the renewable energy stuff, we had introduced animals onto the farm and all that. So I've always employed people that have gone to agri school, either in animal husbandry or in
farming,
agro farming, crop farming. And so these young people come and share with you their passions, show you what this could become. And seriously, and you're thinking, okay, I actually have the land, I have a bit of money, but I don't have the knowledge that this young man has. So quickly we started incorporating what they are telling us that could make them also feel a part of the farm and the community around us. Fast forward, our farm grows decently. We had about a herd size of 300, 400 animals. And
are you tapping into the neighbors also? Because now you already have goodwill with them.
Yes. So at that point, we are tapping into the neighbors, one, buying their maize, for example, and soya to
make your feed.
To make our feed.
Okay.
That's how we were tapping into them, selling to them. At that time, we had piglets. We had a pig farm then. And so selling to them piglets, and when the pigs grow, we try and find them market, buying chicken from them like that. Fast forward, ready, we have a product ready for the market. The brokers come in, sweet. And
from Kampala?
Yes.
Okay.
And
how do they know about this, about you?
So word of mouth.
Really?
Yes, word of mouth. Word of mouth. If you have a quality product, word of mouth will move it. And I honestly, all I can say is word of mouth, because our farm is not even branded. But they just knew that when you go to that place, you'll get a quality animal. Yeah.
Wow.
And also the workers we were using, for example, the farm manager coming from school, had connections, a Greek school had connections. We were also working with Makerere University Research Institute. So even there, they would recommend us some. And that's how we got to get known. That time we didn't have a butchery. It was just primary production. Fast forward, the middlemen are showing us that this is not your business. An animal you've raised for 700,000, 800,000, they were buying for 400,000. Trust me.
Why?
They'll tell you this is either too fatty or the market price is this much. And you could go to the market, for example, and ask in decent butcheries, how much are you buying a kilo? And they'll tell you 18,000, 20,000. But this person is buying your kilo at 9,000, 8,000. So the birth of this butchery was to cut out,
eliminate the
that,
middleman.
to say, look, if we brought this from the farm straight to the butchery, number one, the farm will make better money, will at least become profitable. But on this side, the consumer will actually get a subsidized price per kilo.
True.
Because there's
no middleman.
There's no middleman. So that's exactly what we did. We opened a butchery. But remember, that time I was also still doing my corporate job. And so my sister-in-law, who had lost her job during COVID-19, stepped in. We started this together. And that's why I keep saying I'm a co-founder.
Right.
We started this together. Stepped in and started running the business, the butchery side especially. So I would only step in on the primary production side. Unfortunately, this also didn't go too well. In 2023, May, I lost my job. They woke up to me and told me, unfortunately, we have chosen to close the Uganda down. You've been doing so well, building a $10 million business in 2 years. However, funding can't take us another 4 years to when you're going to get profitable. Certainly, this shattered me.
Of course.
Certainly. Because one, for me, the most important thing is not that I was getting money from there to the side hustle, no. The most important thing for me is the impact this organization had.
True.
400 direct employees.
Our families.
10,000 agents and their families. This is without the suppliers, the transporters, and all those guys we were working with. It shattered me. It shattered me. I've always been very passionate about employment, creating employment opportunities, especially for the youth that have gone to school, because they've played their part in terms of showing they're responsible citizens and they've gone to school, right? But then they come out of school at whatever level and then they don't have access to employment. So that shattered me. And kind of made me relax also on this other business mentally. That was in May. In August, something happens at the farm and we lose the entire herd. Yes. I'm telling you. In a space of about 36 hours. I remember that time I was in Nairobi and I got so many missed calls on my phone, and I just knew something is wrong because we have a capable manager, very young
The
man.
whole farm.
Yeah. What survived were animals that were in the sick bay because we used to isolate sick animals. The sick animals are what survived. I think there were about 8 or so. Everything else gone.
What happened?
And at that time, I had thought, I've served in the corporate world, I'm done. If somebody can just wake up and tell me something I've worked for and lived for is gone in a day, let me try. I've always been an entrepreneur. I started selling fruit salad in my S4 bag. So I thought, this is my calling, honestly. And I had a few people pouring into me, my husband, my brothers, saying, look, if the kind of energy you have and you put in other people's businesses, you put in your own, I think your impact, you would have national transformation. And that had always been my dream. Fast forward, I snapped out of it, positive mindset. That happens in 2023. And around November 2023, I remember having a conversation with myself, saying, look, you have invested your life savings, your husband's savings, all the money that you've had in a business called Richland Foods or Yonyama. Maybe this is a call, a tough call. If you hadn't gone through all this, perhaps you would not
have seen the value of the thing,
the value of
right
what
in
you're
your
doing.
hand. Yes.
Yeah. Wake up. And all this is happening within me and my phone. And I told myself, okay, God, if this is you speaking, I am dedicating 2024 to this business. And if it doesn't work
It's
in
on
1
you.
year,
It's on you.
this is a conversation I'm having with God.
Right.
I'm saying, if this doesn't work, then it's not my calling. I will go back to the corporate world and work for somebody and earn a living, and I just earn money. But if this is my calling, I am going to give it my all this year. So help me God. I said that in November. And in that very month, there was a call, DFCU Raising Women, for competition. I had been out of this business. The business was there, I was funding it, but I wasn't in it. I saw this call. I didn't even know how to write those kind of proposals. I put it in. Trust me, we emerged top 10. I was thinking, okay, so there is something here. Somehow life started coming back because I didn't even put effort. But somebody else on the panel, or a couple of people on the panel, felt there's something here. And we emerged top 10. Out of that, we got an opportunity to go to Kenya. The Kenya I had lived for so many years.
7 years.
But now going back as an entrepreneur student, going back to see and benchmark what other entrepreneurs like me were doing in Kenya. But I am 40 years of age. What I saw in those 3-4 days changed my life forever. Seriously. Women that started like me during COVID-19, running multi-million-dollar businesses 4 years down the road. With simple things. I saw a lady adding value to Irish potatoes. How? Buying from farmers, bring, peel, slice, package, sell to KFC. Multi-million-dollar business. I saw a lady doing leather bags. Resigned from the UN, followed her passion, has over 100 employees, and her sole market is the US, not the US, New York. Multi-million-dollar business. I visited Java House. And because this was DFCU and its partners taking us, they opened doors for us. We went to the kitchens. I am a foodie, so I'm constantly referring to
I like it. Me too. Yeah.
They took us straight. There's nothing they hid from us. Maybe their books of accounts.
True.
But they opened up for us fully. I went to Java House. I saw the processes. I saw the systems. And that shaped what Yonyama is today. This is last year. We won in November. By January, late January, DFCU had flown us to Kenya.
Wow.
When I went to Kenya, my dream was
resurrected.
Completely. That's the right word. Resurrected, rebirthed. In May. So I came back in March, got all the funds we had, opened a branch in. While I was doing DFCU, the competition, one of the guys, I don't remember his name, on Uganda Investment Authority, he was the panelist on behalf of Uganda Investment Authority, asked me why my brand is not halal.
Mm-hmm.
I justified it. I've had a pig farm. Well, unfortunately, the pigs died. But he told me, why? Why are you not halal? Have you done your market study? Have you? He pushed me. I left that room feeling like this guy either didn't like me, or we didn't connect, or he didn't understand my
vision. You're looking for excuses as opposed to the actual issue.
You get? Mm-hmm. When we went for the cocktail in the evening, he told me, think about what I told you. I think someday you will thank me. And today I thank him.
Wow.
Because when we came back from Kenya, we decided we are moving halal. I had done enough research to justify that, and it has yielded 100%. It has not disappointed.
I'm sorry, before you even continue, explain the importance or significance of halal, meaning and everything.
So I know that in Uganda, many people, when you say halal, the correlation is pork. Halal is beyond that. It's how the animal is treated, right from the farm all the way to when it gets to your table. What does that mean? How it's treated, transportation, before slaughter, the slaughtering, the whole point of emphasizing that the animal or the carcass loses all the blood. The blood is dripped out completely. What that does when that blood drips out is that all toxins, most of the toxins in an animal are stored in the blood. And so each time the blood is fully dripped out of the animal, all the possible toxins are dripped out. And that's what halal is about. It's about cleanliness of the meat that you eat. Today, even as I think, if I were to eat pork, if there is such a thing, I haven't researched, I don't know, but if I were to eat pork, it had better be slaughtered in a halal manner and handled in a halal manner. And if we get a chance to educate people the importance of halal as a procedure, I think we will have played a very important role in the transmission of toxins and diseases and contaminations from animal meat to humans.
Yes.
I look at the amount of, one of the studies I want to do this year is the correlation between viral infections that we have in humans today and food or meat. Because I believe, I am convinced that there is a very strong correlation between the
Ebola.
Foot and mouth disease, swine fever, and all those things. In humans, they might not come out as such, but it will be a viral infection. And all these infections are equally viral infections. Ebola, for example, it's in humans, but studies show it comes from monkeys. So a human being eating a monkey comes down that lane. Today, in a full year that you go to hospital, let's say if you visited the hospital 5 times, 4 times out of 5, they'll tell you have an infection.
Of course.
What is that infection? Have we gone the extra mile to check what it is? And is there something we can do about it? Yeah, so the long and short of how this was born is that. And just to conclude, what reaffirmed this for me beyond the Nairobi trip. So Nairobi trip for me was it. I came back here convicted that I was doing the right thing, that it was scalable, that it would create impact, and that it would create national transformation if other people joined me or I joined other people and we did it at a national scale. Then comes BNI. Somewhere along the way, around April, May, I'm told about BNI. I had been struggling, even these other organizations that I joined after Unilever, I was struggling. They don't have processes, they don't have the right systems, the budgets are not there. So I was struggling fitting in and constantly thinking about how do I get back in the corporate. One side of my brain was checking how fast can I get back to the corporate environment. But one of the things I did, I remember last year, November, when I sat with myself and I said, first of all, you're off LinkedIn. You'll be there, but you're not open for employment. You're not commenting anything. You're not triggering any recruiter's mind to see you. And I have been off LinkedIn since then. I'm going back now. And I'm going back as an entrepreneur. it helped me because each time you have pings in your inbox, there's this opportunity.
Yes.
And opportunities at my level were quite juicy. I felt even if I am to ever go back, let it not be now. Let me contribute in the best manner I can fully right now. Should I choose to go back, it will be later.
And the year that you had committed
was last year.
had not yet lapsed at that time?
No.
Okay.
Last year in May, I met BNI. I enter a room. I hear what business owners are talking about. I see like-minded people my age mates doing big things. Like, this is where I belong. This is where I belong. So I quickly, on that day, I wrote a check. I joined BNI. And it's one of the best decisions I made for my business. That level of accountability does not exist in the private sector, especially with SMEs. The level of accountability for your business. It's as if they are in your business, literally.
Right.
Everybody is in your business. You said you had these goals. Where have you reached with them? You said, generally, you say something, it's used against you. So you better say something that you're sure you're going to do. So I joined BNI last year. We were launched in August. My business has grown almost tenfold. Yes, almost tenfold.
And you attribute that to joining BNI?
One, not just to joining BNI. The mindset shift for me was the number one.
Okay.
Mindset shift. After the Kenya trip, I came back a completely different person.
So, excuse me. So,
Yes.
the mindset shift together with BNI, those two together, led to the tenfold growth.
Honestly speaking, nothing else. But then, along the way, you see, somehow when you discover your purpose, things fall in place.
Yes.
We won the NSSF Hi-Innovator last year.
So it is
A 20,000 grant. And that was a stamp for me.
20,000 what?
$20,000 grant. It pushed, it helped us open another branch in Nadia. So today we have 2 physical walk-in branches, even if we are 80% a delivery service.
Wow.
And when you look at what we were able to achieve with that money, our employees grew threefold.
Wow.
Initially, we had 2 employees when we had just started. Now, I'm not even talking about the primary production
At
side.
the farm.
No, I've not touched that. I'm just talking about value addition. Yonyam. We had 2. We are now speaking 18. Yes.
Wow.
We had, at that time, we were turning around about 10, 15 million per month. We are 5-6 times that today without institutions. But if you add the hotels and all we are working for, we have not gone in supermarkets for reasons we can discuss. But we have been in supermarket kitchens. What they sell in their delis, we service those, but not in the supermarket to sell.
The competition is a bit high.
Not just the competition, but for me, I think we could do better. For example, packaging. There are areas of improvement, for us. For example, packaging, but also payment terms. Working capital for us does not justify giving 90 days of credit to a supermarket that is going to buy 100 million per week. You know what I mean? 100 million per week for 90 days. That's 1.2 billion shillings. We don't have that working capital yet. We will get there. But for now, we have over 500 households that we service on a weekly basis.
Weekly basis? And you deliver to them?
Or they come in, they either come in or we deliver to them. Yes. Yeah. And that has been the journey, quite interesting. We are growing. And yeah, here we are today.
Let me ask, first of all, congratulations. The journey is really shocking, to say the least, really shocking. Let me first ask about the DFCU part. What was the motivation behind them having this year? Do you know? Was it
Women in business.
Women in
So
business?
DFCU has an arm. They've set up with some offices to deal specifically with women in business, to promote women businesses, to expose women businesses, they actually give subsidized loans to businesses, I think 17% per annum versus 21 or 22% that everybody else would get. So I think as part of their doing responsible business, they have prioritized women in business to support women in business. Yes. So it's an annual thing. I learned about it
when you won it.
When I won
Right,
it.
right.
Yeah. But they're doing a tremendous job. Even with the Grow project, they have partnered with DFCU as well. It's one of the 5 banks that they're working with to execute these loans to women businesses.
This is nice.
Yes.
I like it. We had a guest here, a lady. She's into metalwork. And she was also handpicked by the World Bank, actually, in something related to this. Yes. So they came to her place. They saw the work they were doing. They took her for, a presentation at the bank. They had a show, like how you'd see like a show, really, different people. Then from there, they handpicked her. They took her to the UN, right?
Wow.
Introduced her to the UN and did amazing things there as well. So I like the sound of this because it tells me that there is recognition of the effort that the lady or the woman is putting into the economy.
Absolutely.
And if it is falling short, there is support to bring them up.
Yes.
And I like that. I like also that, the bank was able to get you and take you to Nairobi and be there as the intermediary when you're seeing, exposure is really the most important thing.
Absolutely.
You can be told these things, but if you see in the kitchen, then it is okay. I like that.
Absolutely.
I like that. Okay, so at the beginning you were saying we do this, we do this, we do this.
Yes.
What does the do actually mean? What is do?
So we produce, we farm, not as big as we were before, but we still farm. We have local birds, we have yellow yolk. We have a model farm. We farm, we source from other farmers. We produce, meaning process. We add value through doing prime cuts, through doing, so for example, if you needed minced meat, all that we do it in our butchery spaces. We produce sausages, that's part of we do. And on the very end of the value chain, we have retail stores where you can walk in at UK Mall, Kansanga, and purchase, or at JSM Mall in Nalia. You can walk in, see. Ugandans love to see.
Yes.
Instruct.
Yes.
Because we have carcasses. So you can instruct, what is that called? Can I have that? Is it soft? You have an engagement. So customer service is also, or customer experience is part of what we do. Our butchers are knowledgeable, skilled, and exposed to actually show you, Herbert, you want a rib eye, but I think this would do best for what your wife wants to do. And then we also deliver. We have in-house riders, thanks to NSSF Hi-Innovator money. We got our own in-house riders that do door-to-door delivery services.
Wow.
So we are across the chain, but our concentration is value addition, starting at breaking down the carcass all the way to when it gets to your plate. Yes.
I like that. How do you verify the other areas for the halal element?
Yes, that's a very interesting question, and it's an area of improvement for us that we are still working on as we go. So one of the things that we've done is formalize the suppliers that we source from. And what do I mean formalize? We, for the primary production, we actually inspect the farms. We inspect what the farming, because we are GMO free, we try as much as possible and use animals that are grass fed or that are not injected with artificial things. So 3 things we do. Number 1, some of the product is ours 100%, either our own farm or sister farms. Like the chicken, local chicken, the yellow yolk eggs, and all that. The number 2 thing we do is we have a database of farmers that we work with that our agronomists or veterinary doctors have gone, vetted. Okay, small scale farmer, 10 animals, but looks promising, understands bookkeeping. If we train this farmer, yes, there will be a good addition to our database. And within BNI, what that has opened me up to is the farming power team. We have what we call power teams, businesses that have synergies. So there are people who are already doing, for example, irrigation projects with like SpringTech, working with farmers up in different parts of the country. We have, for example, a feed company that does feed production, animal feed production in Nyoya. And just today they sent me an email with a database of farmers that they had already pre-qualified as farmers that would produce good or have the potential to produce the right meat. They plugged us into those. We have farm planners within that power team. So because they go and plant several farms, they know what my ask is. My ask is I need farmers who have the capacity for at least 50 animals that I will train to breed the right quality of animals that I want, and I will slaughter myself. That's option 2. Option 3, which we have capitalized on at the moment, we trained 3, and we are looking to recruit more youths who are already in the abattoirs doing business, random business, buy, sell, buy, sell. We have trained them over the years on what we look for in the meat. How it needs to be halal. It needs to have this number of stamps. It needs to have all that. So they do that on our behalf, put a markup, and come and sell to us. And the rest, then the next question would be, how do you ensure they have done all that? Because they've grown with us. They know that losing us would be losing everything they have. And so they take extra caution to, sometimes they come and say, for us to get the quality of meat that Yonyama needs, you're going to pay 1,000 shillings more per kilo. And we would say, what do we do? That's the quality of meat. This other is there, but that's not what you told us to get for you. And you're like, okay, we'll pay the extra to get the right quality. So those are the 3 ways we ensure that what we give to our consumers is right. However, like I said, Herbert, this is a space that I think we would need. I want to study a bit more, to get exposed a bit more around traceability. That's one area where I think that even if we had to open up to export markets, traceability is very
required
key.
there because you need the origin.
Absolutely. So I'm piloting something later this year around tagging all the way to barcoding to plate. Let's see how that goes. But I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I will constantly keep checking how it's done, for example, in Europe, and see if there's something we can copy and just plug into what we do. Yes. The second bit around institutions in general, not just supermarkets, but schools as well. You find that many business owners are playing through the value chain, not concentrating on one thing. So you go into a school or a supermarket and the beef on the shelf is actually from the owner. Of course, it leaves you with a question of, are they concentrating on the selling or the farming? Or could I be wrong and we need to play everywhere? But it's a big challenge. We are not specialized enough. We want to be everything. And that is why we have toned down on the primary production completely, left it as a model farm just for farmers to be trained, to have a sample of what we need, because then I can't bring them to Herbert's farm to say, do like this. But if I have a central place that I can keep referring farmers to, one, for training, but two, to have an actual physical view of what it is that we need, then I concentrate on value addition, right? Then I concentrate on research, innovation, technological improvement in value addition of meat. Then, of course, now you will scale, knowing I have done all the basics and the fundamentals of dealing in meat right. Yeah, but it remains a challenge, really. Somebody being in everything across the value chain. And you end up not being scalable. You end up locking out people like us who have chosen that as a specialty and those kind of things. So it's a big challenge.
You touched on my next question, actually, which was going to be the challenges. Okay. I know the loss of the pigs that you had and the others that you mentioned before. But in terms of maybe day-to-day operations or in the market itself, what challenges do you face?
I like categorizing our challenges into three core things or three core elements. One of them being financial, not having the right muscle. Our business makes sense at scale. The margin is too small that if you're not at scale, you remain in that mediocre arrangement. For you to look at Farmer's Choice, for example. I admire them. They've become a Pan-African brand. If you go to Dubai today, they're on Dubai shelves, right? Why? Economies of scale have been at play. And why? Because of the financial muscle. So that's the number one challenge I see today. I'm not in supermarkets because I cannot afford to wait 90 days to get paid. I'm not in hotels because I'm not able to competitively play the price game versus waiting 90 days to get paid. So financial is number one. Number two, consistency in terms of supply. Are you getting the right quality of meat consistently? We have not built, yes, 70% of us are employed in or are playing in the agriculture sector. But what are we producing? I mentioned to you that in the earlier years of our farm, we were producing for us to eat.
True.
So even if I got a market today of 1,000 tons of different meat cuts per month, I cannot take that contract on because there is no capacity.
On the foundation level.
At the foundation level, right? There is no capacity in terms of consistency in quality of the meat that I'm going to get to supply. So that's the second bit. The third bit for me is people, human capital. I don't know how much of this you hear, but honestly speaking, seriously, we are not exposed enough. So the policies are drawn at national level, very good policies. Benchmarking is done. The 2030 plan, national plan, amazing. But the executors, And not just the executors at government level, but even below, the people I bring to work with me, the youths, are they seeing agriculture as a nice place to be? Or the in thing is fintechs. I need to be in a tech environment, sit in SC.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if you remember COVID-19, for example, which is what really triggered what we do, the only 3 sectors that thrived throughout the 2 years, 1 is health, 2 is transport, and 3 is agriculture. Well, you can add tech, depending on what you were doing with the tech. Those are the only industries that thrived during COVID-19, a global pandemic. But you look at the quality of people we are getting out of, youths we are getting out of institutions, not just academically, but also intellectually. Mindset. You remember I mentioned to you that one of the things that changed about me was the mindset shift. Sure. How many of these young people, I'm not too young anymore, I was going to say young like me. How many of these young people are actually ready to roll up their sleeves and build something from scratch? How many of them are willing to join a small organization like mine, be paid peanuts because that's what I earn today, and wait it out for when the company is bigger and can afford more? How many of them are willing to come to my farm, sit in that sun to train farmers on what your nyama needs on this side? They're not patient. They're entitled. They're used to having food on a silver platter because dodo will grow in the background anyway, beans will grow anyway. No, on a serious note.
I agree.
I grew up here in Lukuri, Makinde side. Sugar cane. We were talking about it with my mother the other day. All over the mangoes, nobody planted there. They would crop with.
And after eating, you throw back the seed and it grows later.
And it grows,
Yes.
literally. So I don't know if the problem is that we have so much food at our disposal.
You know, I'm sorry for cutting you short.
No
I
problem.
watched a show, but it was, what's the guy's name? My goodness. The guy is in tourism. Amos Wekesa. Yes. And he said that in Uganda, people are lazy because God overgifted us.
I think so. I agree with him.
What you're describing, food is growing, fruits are growing, and all this. I think even the president said it one time on a show. But I heard Amos saying this, that God overgifted us. So now people don't take life seriously because these things are there, they're growing, wildly, and no one has to do anything leading to this, what you're describing.
And it sounds far-fetched or cliche, but it's true. During COVID-19, I don't know if you were here, that's when we all learned so many skills that we didn't have previously, including gardening in our balconies. And you would fetch soil from the backyard, put in pots, plant spinach, or sukuma wiki, tomatoes, onions. They are in pots. We would hang them using Pinterest.
Yes.
And those things grew and fed on them while we are still in the lockdown. Not many places or many countries you can get that. So I think it has had its advantages, but it has also had very significant negative effects on the youth and the generations today. So in short, my third and most painful, I'm so passionate about people, but I think I lose people every other month. Some will say it's too much work for the pay. Could be true. Of course, if you went to Ernst & Young, you wouldn't be earning the same as your nyama. Seriously. So they feel it's too much. Beginnings are tough.
Yes.
Beginnings are tough. Not many people have the DNA to withstand the pressures of starting. And it doesn't apply to only starting businesses, but also starting with small businesses. Personally, because like Copia, I started it during COVID-19 here in Uganda, in my bedroom. I was maternity-ish, but I recruited the entire leadership team in my bedroom on a table like this, sometimes on my bed, and built a structure all the way to the 10,000 agents, to the 400 employees, to over 300 suppliers that I talked about. Not many people have that kind of DNA or patience, like we were saying earlier, to withstand that kind of storm. Not many people would lose the animals I lost and remain in business.
Yes.
Not many people would lose the job I had and you see yourself falling from there down here. Not many people.
How about the market itself? Is the market there? I know you mentioned the households that you're serving, 500 plus, but apart from that, the wider scope, the market, is there a market? If someone wants to start this business, can they?
Certainly. Certainly. The market is humongous. There is not much research that has been done in the immediate past, but the last research I read, done about 8 years ago, Ugandans were consuming 7 kilograms of meat versus the recommended 21 kilograms of meat per person. Number two, the middle class is growing in Uganda. The affluence, the middle class, the elite, they're getting exposed. And so they're increasingly getting to know what is good from what is bad. They're concerned about their health habits. What are they eating? What are they feeding their children? Even those who are not concerned, I'm old, I'm going anywhere. They are concerned about their children and their grandchildren, including their dogs, their animals. So as the middle class grows, the demand can only get higher and higher. And that's on a local perspective. But if you look internationally, let's go Africa or even global, the demand for grass-fed animals or meat is immeasurable.
Wow.
And Uganda in Africa, I think, is about number 9 or 8 exporter of beef. Now, supposing we were intentional, because that is happening anyway, as organically, more or less. What if we were intentional in saying, look, we are going to position Uganda as the number 1 exporter of anything concerning meat in Africa? I have come from a meeting right now, and somebody has an order, a potential order or contract to service 1,000 tons of beef and goat meat per month. But they called for that meeting because they are looking for who else can we bring on board so that we can service 1,000 tons per month.
2 things.
Yes.
First of all, you were called in that meeting. That's a very big plus.
Thank you.
I commend you for this.
Thank you.
Secondly, it points to the bigger concern that you're mentioning. If someone has an order for 1,000 tons, and you know these people, they're in the industry.
Yes.
They have the order for 1,000 tons,
Yes.
but they are looking for partnerships to be able to do it. It speaks to a bigger challenge.
Absolutely. Yes, I agree.
Did you come up with the support needed?
Yes, we are doing a paper that will present to those concerned, because we realize that actually we won't be able to service that order.
What needs to be done?
A lot needs to be done. I mentioned earlier that one of my challenges is consistency in quality of what comes from the small-scale farmers. It's not a matter of taking the right breed. There's a time they brought about 2 or 3 years ago, one of the government agencies was giving out piglets, kids, for goats, and all that. But many of those died. Why? Because the person you're giving that very good breed is not exposed at all, does not have the capacity, ability, or even willingness to nurture that into a proper business. So it's not a one-person kind of solution, it's a stakeholder and short, medium, long-term kind of involvement or
At
engagement at all levels. Actually,
especially the lower.
At all levels.
Especially the lower one.
Yes. So I think we've just got to be a bit more intentional. Many times the policies are there. They're set. I like the planning guys. They do an amazing job when they're planning. You look at it and you can't question anything there. The issue is always the implementation. So we need all stakeholders to join hands when it comes to implementation of these policies.
But for you personally, you're focused more on the value addition side.
Yes.
The challenge that I'm seeing is on the production side. Why not focus on this side?
That side has a lot of stakeholders playing already. It just needs a bit of organization. Not a bit. It needs significant organization, partnerships, and synergies to make it work. The space I am playing in today doesn't have. You can count on your palm how many decent butcheries. Earlier you mentioned there are so many butcheries. You can count.
Decent. I didn't say decent. Because decent would narrow it greatly. Yes.
Absolutely. But what is decency? It's simply clean, safe, affordable meat. Perhaps not up to 5. At a stretch, maybe 5. And all of us are in Kampala. What is the population of Kampala? 4.6 million. What is the population of Uganda?
45. So the market is there clearly for this line. What do customers say who come into the store for the first time? And then your regulars, what do they say to you? What kind of feedback are you hearing?
The constant feedback we get from new customers is wow.
It is shock.
Yeah. I don't remember one customer that has entered and not said wow. So you mean you guys are there? How long have you been doing this? You mean in Uganda we have such? Are you guys Kenyan? That's the next question. Are you Kenyan? Is this? And my team keeps giving me feedback. People are asking if we are Kenyan. I think, madam, you look Kenyan. But that's not the point. The point is that Uganda is not, and this is an inference that I make, I deduce from their comments, that Uganda is not meant for, not that it's not meant, but Uganda doesn't have quality things. And so if it's there and it's nice, it has to have been imported.
Somehow, the concept.
And when they learn that it's Ugandan, and when they look in the butcheries, over 70% of the people serving are women, they come back. Oh, you guys have demystified this whole thing. I like what you guys are doing. Oh, you girls, I like how people are geared towards empowering women or girls in business. And we have had several customers coming back because you girls are doing a good job. So that's what we get from first-time clients. The last comment. I hope you survive it's true. I think even yesterday somebody told me, I really hope you make it to the third year, because in Uganda here, people come up with very nice ideas, they execute, but it never goes beyond 3 years. How old are you? I said, this is our 5th year. What? You have been around for 5 years?
How come we didn't know?
Well done. But how come we didn't know you? So, yeah, that's a very common one as well. Yeah, we hope you survive. I will support you for as long as you survive.
Wow.
And for me, that pushes me. That's the engine. That's the fuel in my engine every day. I really need to show Ugandans that we can do this. And it starts with me, right? It starts with me. If I am able to inspire somebody to start something using my journey, using my story, I will do it every day. And each time I feel like giving up, I'm like, ha, 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 ha. You're not affirming anybody's negative comments. True. You have got to make this. It's a calling. God appointed you to make a difference in this sector. Please wake up and go and do it. And that's how I manage every day. For existing clients, they stay because we have been consistent and they have enjoyed our journey. The one thing I've done as a marketer is to constantly share informally, if on WhatsApp, not structured, but I share our journey. When we got UNBS certification, I post. When we get DFCU exposure to Kenya, let me tell you, I filmed everything and I put it on my status. The number of inquiries I got. How has that woman done? I took time to just share. When we got the NSSF Hi-Innovator money, I have shown. Maybe I have not done it well enough or in a structured manner like what you're doing, but I commend you for what you're doing. But I want to use my story and journey to inspire many others to do something, to create a change. Yeah.
I think I'm saying too many congratulations, but I'll say it again, no problem. You really deserve it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You mentioned when you were going to start this thing and gave it 1 year, you went to your room alone and talked to God, and you had this discussion, I'm going to do this. The ball is in your court. This is 1 year down. When the year elapsed, did you go back to close that loop with him?
No, and I'm being very honest. No, I did not go back. And I am going back at the end of this quarter, in March. Why didn't I go back? I'm kind of a perfectionist. So I felt like there are certain things I've not yet ticked off that I could perhaps close in the first quarter of this year. But even when I did go back, at the beginning of the year, I said, God, because I'm so grateful, I'm giving this business another year. Seriously. But I'm being honest. But anyway, truthfully, yes, I have not gone back to that space. Number one, because I think the biggest reason is because a lot has gone on that I have not found. Initially, my last 16 years of career, I always had at least 2 to 3 weeks where I travel either with my family or alone, and I reflect. I have not had a chance to do that. The industry I am in right now, the time we used to take off, we've been working almost overnight. Throughout Christmas, for the first time, Christmas came and I didn't know it had come. January, same thing. Then back to school, things are starting to. I had not prepared mentally for that level of activity and madness. And right now is when things are starting to ease. And so that's why I said, okay, come March, I will be closing a quarter. I will be closing a year since I committed to,
That's
the year
okay,
ends
one.
in March actually, since I committed to, we made that arrangement. Yes, we had that discussion with my God in November, but execution was Feb, March. So now it's a year since I made that commitment. But I've already decided, and I'm going back on LinkedIn. So one of the things I'm doing, for example, is to go back on LinkedIn and I reintroduce myself. And the world has been wondering what I'm up to because I was so out there. So I want to go back and share what I've been up to.
Good job.
Thank you.
At times we see stories in the media talking about expired products on store shelves, meat products, dairy products. What do you have to say about that?
Very interesting question. I'd have two comments. One is I worked for a while in supermarkets with Unilever. And I've also had an opportunity to work in supermarkets, for example, in Vietnam. And the huge difference I see between the two markets is the ability to forecast correctly according to shopper habits. I find that many times in Uganda or in Africa, businessmen and women start a business and go with the flow. God help us all. So you anticipate, you have a very big vision for your business and you anticipate the bakery will work like this, the butchery will work like this will work, not data, but sentiments. And as a result, you end up overstocking beyond the shopper habits. Now, the difference with fresh produce, like meat or like milk, especially non-processed milk, fresh milk, is that you have to have some level of certainty in your forecasting. Your bias or accuracy the gap has to be this small because between Monday and Friday, things completely change.
Yes.
So the ability to know that the shopper habits for my supermarkets are that Friday, Saturday are my peak, or Saturday, Sunday are my peak for this particular category, by category, by the way, and by product, to be precise, because some products sell more, even within the same category. If it's milk, for example, Jessa doesn't sell the same as Fresh Dairy, the same as Mega or anybody else on the shelf. Farmer's Choice doesn't sell the same as Yonyama, the same as Fresh Cuts or Your Choice. So it really takes for a business owner or whoever they have put in charge of those different sections to familiarize themselves with their shopper habits, to be able to forecast accurately, to stock just enough. There is also something in the supply chain industry or even project management called first in, first out, or just in time. Ensuring that the people on the lines, especially on supermarket shelves, understand and implement first in, first out concept, as well as just in time ordering. Meaning, for people who are supplying fresh produce like meat, vegetables, dairy, bread, will bring a day or two. The supplier should have the capacity to deliver every day or every other day, especially if you're going to sell it as fresh and not frozen, because there are different shelf lives depending on the temperature that you give those products. So that's number one. But number two, ethical business conduct. Knowing that there is a chance as a supermarket owner or whoever it is that these things will go bad. And when they go bad, you take them on shelf. You don't try to maneuver around to still sell it to your customers, because that's not sustainable, that's not ethical. So just dealing with expiries the way they come. Either penalize whoever didn't do their job in forecasting, or in fast in, fast out, or in just-in-time ordering, or take the loss, learn from it, and do better the next week or month. For us as Yonyama, our meat, right now we've increasingly gotten asks of aged meat. But even aged meat, you don't just put it in open air and leave it there. It's kept under certain temperature. But outside that, the most we stay with meat is 48 hours. And that is what birthed our kitchen, or ready to eat meat. Because any meat that is not sold to the consumers within 48 hours is moved to the kitchen, cooked and sold as a ready-to-eat product. Because that does not mean that that meat is not safe for consumption. Certainly not, because we have the right cooling systems and everything. But because Ugandans generally love to buy fresh meat, we have understood what our consumer wants, and we will give them what they want. So what we do, 48 hours, which is unlike, we have improved, we have become better. Very, very few times do we keep meat beyond 24 hours. Otherwise, our forecasting has gotten to a level where every day we bring in meat. Every day. The only times we try and bring in more is either when we have bulk orders, or when we have been told, given a link of there's an outbreak or something. That's when we up our ordering. Otherwise, we bring in meat on a daily basis, 48 hours off into either processing at the factory to process into sausages, or into the kitchen to cook for consumption. Your other question around the mishaps or handling of the meat, or what should consumers look out for when they're considering to buy meat? Number one, a credible source of meat. I had a content creator, went back to school, a very young girl who said, I think we need to address this issue by the horns. People should leave this kind of meat and settle for machine cut meat. It comes with its merits. She was speaking with a lot of passion. But do you know the source of the meat you're eating? Do you trust, is your butcher credible? Is that what they do for a living, or it's a by the way? Do they even care about the safety of the meat? Is there some level of traceability in what they do? Or because we have grown till today eating that kind of meat, it's okay, we should go ahead. Times have changed. Then there were herbs and everything that could sort you out. You're eating that kind of meat, but you're balancing it with mululuza, for example. Today, I don't even know if that herb still exists in the city. In those days, it used to grow just like sugarcane in our backyard. So number one, be concerned about the health of your family. Number two, balanced diet, everything in moderation. Whereas some people are going vegan, they're off meat and everything, there are also diets that are full protein diets or meat diets, like keto, for example. So for me, I subscribe to the philosophy of everything in moderation. Whether you're going to eat meat, eat it in moderation, balance it out. Today we have beef, the next day we have chicken, the next day we have fish. And you can only get that kind of expert advice from experts. When you come to our butchery, or when you call, first-time client, we will ask you any dietary needs. Then they'll say, my family doesn't eat this, I have somebody allergic to this, like that. So we advise according to that. Is the next door butchery going to do that for you? Do they even know? That's number one. Number two, after you get the meat from us, we have done a tremendous job in keeping it in the right temperatures. And when it gets to your home, how is it handled? For us, when we are packing your meat, when you tell us we are 6 people, we know a kilo is enough. When you say we are 2 and you're ordering for a kilo, we will give it to you in half kilos so that you don't take it out, defrost, put it back. We are giving you enough to cook. When you pull it out, cook it, that's it. Goes back to where you're sourcing your meat from. Storage is as important as where you're picking the meat from. The third part is how you're preparing the meat. You can get the healthiest meat, healthiest foods you can. And when you come to cook, constantly deep frying. Constantly, no matter how organic that chicken was or that fish. The moment all you do is deep fry. In what kind of oil are you deep frying? First question. You end up with a product which you thought was healthy but does not give you the health benefits that you're looking for. So one of the other services that we give, of course we can do better, is to share recipes, and we are intentional at making sure that our recipes, the cooking style, is as a healthy instrument as possible. Grilling, smoking, boiling, those kind of things. If you must fry, usually pan frying. We recommend the oils to use: avocado oil, olive oil, sunflower oil, those kind of oils. And even if you're going to use vegetable oil, don't use it 4 times. The same oil, you keep burning. So we give that kind of advice as well. I think that if consumers are intentional in that space, we will live happily in a happy ecosystem. And we will not be seen saying, this is bad for your health. This is everything in moderation is all I can say. Yes.
Is there a time during this journey where you almost failed as a business?
Yes. More than once. More than once. But I'll focus on 2. One of them is when we ran out of money completely. And I did not have a job anymore to pick my salary and come and pay off people. They come to work every day. They have families. They have children to take to school. They have wives to feed. And you don't have money to pay. For me, I felt like, what is this I'm doing? And gives me sleepless nights each time it happens, and it happens. When you're running a business that is not too profitable, like I mentioned, that our business starts making proper business sense at scale. So when you're still small, you're in and out of profitability. And the issues of working capital, cash flow, become real. So those times you feel like, what is this? I could get my 7-digit paycheck and move on. But when I think about who else this would affect, no. This is not the time. Let's go, let's push. And somehow God has been faithful. You go through it, and then the next month is much, much better. You're like, hey, now if I had given up. Yeah. And the other one for me, I told you I'm very passionate about people. There's a time I lost almost everybody in terms of employees. And I had just me left. And maybe my business partner, who is not too active in the business anymore. And you know, when you recruit somebody, you believe in them, you see yourself in them, you see the potential, and then they wake up one day and say, I'm sorry, I've got to leave. You feel like, okay, so I was wrong. I've made that. You start,
Inside retrospective look.
Absolutely.
And judging yourself.
You start judging yourself. That's the one. You start judging yourself. You feel like you've made the wrong decisions, recruitment errors. You feel you lose trust in
And doubt
people.
yourself too.
You start doubting yourself, your abilities. So it has a ripple effect.
Yes.
And before you know it, it's affecting those around you and it's affecting the business. And each time you have those thoughts lingering around your mind, you start reconsidering what you're doing. You start questioning what you're doing. So I remember there's a time last year when foot and mouth disease broke out. Mm-hmm. That time I had just opened our Kansanga branch and I had taken the decision to go halal. Foot and mouth disease broke out and there was quarantine on all cows and goats. And I have just opened a branch. Expenses have gone up 10 times. That was a trying moment for me. I lost a couple of employees. I didn't have stock. I think that time I thought, oops.
This is it.
I'm not sure the decision I've made is the right one. But we came out of it. By August, we had another branch. And each time these things happen, they disprove
the previous challenge. Yes.
And you keep going.
Yes.
And you keep going. And you keep going. Yeah.
Wow. Why Kansanga, by the way?
So, why Kansanga? There's a market. The market drives what we do. Mm-hmm. I did research. I mapped 5 towns we will be as priority. Mm-hmm. And I have mapped 5 cities we will be post that. After the 5 branches, we will move out of Kampala by God's grace. Mm. And I have already mapped the cities. I've started visiting them. Kansanga was number 2 on the list that we had. Mm-hmm. But then I think it was God speaking through several people, including one of my sisters-in-law, who said, look, this is your time for Kansanga. Because of the universities there, mm-hmm. because of the affluent population there, mm-hmm. There's so many non-Ugandans living around there, mm-hmm. and they understand the value of halal mm-hmm. and quality. Mm-hmm. They already shop in that kind of environment where they're coming from.
True.
So it only made sense, mm-hmm. and somehow God created a way. Somebody had just left a store, and I went there. They said, if you don't pay today, a non-Ugandan is going to pay. And that's one of the challenges that also has. It looks like it has a lot of consumers and all, but there's also quite a bit of non-Ugandans doing what would be local businesses. Yeah.
Competition is stiff.
Competition is quite stiff. Yes. But competition is also healthy.
And it pushes everywhere.
Yes, it pushes you to think outside the box.
True.
That's how we started smoked meats. Mm-hmm. That's how we started biltong, dried meat.
Okay.
It has pushed us to think outside the box. Mm-hmm. They've asked us for spices and herbs, so we do our own in-house blends of marinades, spices, herbs, out of the things that we grow at the farm. Mm-hmm. And competition is good. It pushes you, especially if it's healthy competition. Sure. But also, to be very honest, that road now has about 9 or 10 proper smart butcheries that have cropped up. Mm-hmm. That shows you that there is a demand because all of us are doing something every day.
I have a double-edged question for you. First of all, do you have, I would call it maybe a mistake that you made that you wish you could undo now, maybe? And then on the flip side, do you have a risk that you took that you can share that has turned out to be something worthwhile?
Yeah, I believe so. Not one, but I'll pick out what stands out. So a mistake that I wish I could undo, but I am actually working on now, is systems. I have learned the hard way that trying to establish systems when people already exist is the hardest thing to do. If I were to do it differently, or many times the reason franchises work is because they're systems that get planted. You play by, you follow the book.
Yes.
You use a playbook.
Yes.
It works because KFC works globally, because there's a playbook. And I think the same applies here. If I had to do this again, if I'm gonna establish this in Rwanda or wherever in another market, I would start with systems before people.
True.
The people find the systems and they will play by the systems. Today, it's quite challenging to get, even when they're tech-savvy youths, to use the system, because we started the manual way. They find the manual way easier, and yet it has its own advantages and loopholes. So if I would do it again, I would start with systems and build backwards to people. What risk? Your question is, what risk did I take?
Yes, that panned out well.
Risking all our life savings and everything. Seriously. You asked me, who are our funders?
Yes.
Our funders are our careers combined. Myself, my husband, careers combined, and trusting that what we are investing in will work. Huge risk. Yeah. Personally, what helped me is that previously I was using other people's money to grow their businesses. In introspect or retrospect, I thought about it and said, that person equally risked.
Yes, yes.
And this thing was going really well. Life happened, it went. But if life didn't happen, it could also go another way. The good thing is that what we are doing is not gambling. That gives me peace of mind.
And you have other players in the industry that you can look at and
absolutely.
say they're ahead of you.
Absolutely. In Uganda here we have Quality Cuts, has been in the game for a while. He's done an amazing job. In Kenya there's Farmer's Choice. So there are people who have made it that you look up to and you get inspiration. And people are not going to stop eating. So at least in the field I play, I know that we are not gambling. I know that people's lives are changing. Our employees, the farmers we work with, the suppliers we work with, the transporters, the riders, their lives are not remaining the same. So it was a risk worth taking. Yeah.
You mentioned Rwanda, Kenya, right? Do you have plans for expansion?
Yes, certainly. In our 5-year plan, we should be regional. We should be able to go regional by God's grace, whether it will be exporting or it will be setting up there in whatever form it comes. That's our 5-year goal. And we are starting to look for partners that would help in that space. For now, in the short term, is to consolidate what we are doing in Uganda, go national. There's quite a huge opportunity even here locally, especially for the value-added products. You look at sausages, for example, you can hardly find consistently quality sausages on this market. And so if we are able to do that consistently, we will build a brand within no time. And the export markets will come looking for it from here. Yes. So in the short term, we are focusing on consolidating a national scale. A year or two. And then after that, as we do that, we will start putting our feet out there to get partners, collaborators, investors to get our products out. If you ask me today, I have, that 1,000 ton, come and grab it. I wouldn't. I know my capacity. So right now I'm working on building capacity, what we mentioned, bottom up, building consistency in our value-added products like sausages, innovation, trying different things at small scale, learning, relearning what's working, what's not working, what do consumers want, what are the trends, where is Uganda meat industry going to be, but beyond Uganda, what is Africa, what is happening globally. One of the things I'm really passionate about is value addition beyond meat. Waste management, but in a manner that is income generating. For example, we don't do much with the bones except giving them pets. But even our dogs don't eat the bone fully.
True.
But what about it's the number one source for calcium. And all that. So there's a lot for me to do before I even think of export. I feel like export is really nice, but it's short-sighted. I want, by the time I go into export, you enter a supermarket in Manhattan or Toronto or Ho Chi Minh, where you used to live, and it's a full range of Yonyama products, not just sausages or not
bone
just
powder.
Yeah, like bone powder. Actually, it has the potential for me to export faster than the sausages. Yes, because not many people have thought that far.
Of course.
Absolutely. So that's where my headspace is at, using technology, research and development to come up with products that are unique, that are of quality, and that are of value addition to human beings.
You answered my question even before I asked about the future of Yonyama, what you're thinking, what you're planning. But
I see. Does that answer your question?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, this is exactly what I was going to ask, but you answered it very well. So thank you for that. For a person who has listened to this show, who is thinking about starting this business, what do you have to advise them?
Joining the meat industry in general or joining the value addition?
Value addition.
Value addition. Patience. If somebody wants to join this business and get value out of it and fulfillment, they've got to be very, very patient. It's not a hit business. It's not something you enter today and see your money tomorrow. It's a long-term game. So you need to be prepared. Your capital should be patient capital, for example. And you as a person, you need to be patient. 2, you need to prepare to do the work. Because there's not so many people doing it, there's not so many people to learn from. And so you need to do the work, the research, the benchmarking, be ready. And also be ready to calm down and be hands-on.
Yes.
To meet the farmers, to understand what their issues are, to meet other suppliers. Currently, we import or what we use, for example, in sausages, most of it is imported. So understanding the value chain would be very important as pre-work before you put in your money. Having said that, we mentioned that there's a growing demand for animal protein in the country. This is proven, research. There's a growing middle class. This is proven. And therefore and the climate is really good for animal production. And so, as far as is it the right thing to do, that's not questionable. It's a no-brainer. But have patience, number one. Be willing to do the work, number two. And put in a bit of research and understanding of the entire value chain before you come to intercept it. Because if you have let's say $100,000, you could choose to say, from what I heard from Diana, the issue is down here. Personally, let me go down, do that in a sustainable manner. She will pick from me. Or you could say, she just doesn't know people. She's not well networked. I have enough people down there, so I'll join her in the value addition and we will get those people to supply us. So do a bit of homework across the value chain. And Uganda generally is a conducive environment to invest, to be very honest. We have the right, there are things we don't have, but in the agriculture sector, there is more that we have than we don't have. And so I would encourage anybody, either in the diaspora or just an investor looking to invest in Uganda. We have lots of fertile land, lots of, the market is there, even globally, people looking to buy meat, for example, from Uganda because it's grass-fed. And so, yeah, those simple things that any other sector would need. Maybe the one that is a bit unique is the patience. Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I have truly enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Learned quite a bit. I didn't know many aspects about the meat processing and value addition sector, but I have learned this from you. I'm sure our viewers have also enjoyed this. We wish you great success.
Thank you.
Continued expansion, less challenges, and overall growth in this business.
Amen. And thank you for having me. Thank you for hosting me. What you're doing is amazing. We can't wait to see you out there, to see more of you out there. And I can't wait. I gave you a target 1 year. Yes. I can't wait to see where CEO Insights is in a year. Yes. So yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for having me today.